Got little Flintstones over here, but it's all good.
All right. This is our guest today. We're we always try to bring you something fresh, hot, and new. The hot topic. That's what we do. He's a local artist, dope artist. I remember when I first moved to DC. I used to see his stuff on T-shirts. He did a lot of hip hop portraits of cats, right? Mm-hmm. And like dope. What made it dope? He accentuated like a characteristic of him. Like Sean Combs might have had a big toothpick, Jay-Z big lips, but. Right now we're going to talk about, first of all, let's talk about, what inspires you and when you start, the history of the artist.
Yeah, so basically it started out with comic books just like everybody else, and the subject matter as I grew older started changing. And what happened was because I was originally born here in DC and my family is from Nigeria originally, so I moved back there back in the early 80s, and I was there for about 16 years. So it was a constant, struggle. But I understand it's not like, my parents didn't want me then to do art because I have couple other siblings that are also, artists as well. So what happened was, I used to I had this. I don't know if it was like a addiction to anything colorful. Like back then, I don't know. It was a long time ago when they used to have the superheroes on the McDonald's boxes and stuff like that. So I used to take that and copy, and eventually my parents used to have to seize all my comic books. And then sometimes they'll do this ritual where my mom will just take them and be like, "You see them now, and now you don't," and pour kerosene and burn them all.
Oh, man, my mother used to snap this off too. Oh,
because and it became a game. So I'll have like little comic books stashed under the mattress. It'll be like hidden in places like the kitchen cabinet where she won't even care to look. And but what I also ended up finding out was that there's a lot of action photos in the sports sections of newspapers. So it'll be like maybe because mostly back then it was soccer. Back home. So I used to copy like the goalkeeper flying or people headbutting the ball and stuff like that. Oh, wow. So I used to take those and practice 3D. I didn't even know what 3D was until, because the style it just started forming by itself. So speaking of hip hop, when hip hop came out, like the golden era of hip hop.
Did you get a lot of that? You got a lot of that.
It was a lot. It took over. It was bombing because I remember listening, like I grew up mostly on reggae, high life, soca and all that stuff. But when hip hop came out, it was something for us. It felt like the youth's voice, especially with like NWA, Ice-T, and then everything was so diverse at the time. So it was sort of like they were superheroes in themselves.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you have like, you can put Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, and Rakim in one spot, and they have these different styles and different powers. What they can do. So yeah. So and then another thing too was the artwork on the album covers. Like people really took time. Like I still remember, I used to go to the stores and like they bring a little sketchbook and draw like the covers, because a lot of especially like Organized Confusion, they had like a really dope album cover, and even like some of the Gangstar stuff, and let me say Tribe Called Quest, they had a lot of illustration in their stuff too. So I used to copy those, and like the style, the formation of how they placed the artist. Sometimes they used like a wide lens and made it like, in and out.
Yeah, like with the Beastie Boys had that video.
Right. Yeah. So things like that. So I started like gravitating mostly towards hip hop, and then with that the subject matter changed, because what I used to do then was like I used to go to different barbershops or businesses, trying to that's the way I made money. First of pocket money off of like maybe school is out, summertime, I'm trying to make some money, and I'll do like use those hip hop characters. So somebody, I might take like a DOS Effects album cover and turn it into like something else, and
so
sell it. Yeah, they'll put it up like a price list or something like that with just characters, around it.
You sell your like what's his name? Basquiat used to run around and sell his.
Right.
Sell them
Yeah, so I used to take like big cardboards and draw them, you know, because I thought like the bigger the visual was, the better.
Because at certain events, I remember, I think we were at the pool joint, Q Bar. Were you down? Did you used to go down there and just do the art on the spot? Type stuff?
And then that's the live painting aspect of it. Yeah,
And that was quick and dope. It was like, word, you could do that in 30 seconds.
So it just started growing from there, and with hip hop, and I did illustration like for a lot of magazines too, and that's like, you know, I'm fast forwarding to like now, where, you know, when I came back to the States in '99, right around '99. So I always wanted, like, by this time I had an interest in illustration, and mostly hip hop magazines because they used a lot of illustration. So I used to go up to New York and just do this random thing where I would just go to the newsstand, like at Penn Station, and just look in a magazine and they have illustration. I'll look at the address and just go up there with no appointment and just go show my portfolio. Like, you know, it didn't work all the time, but you know, it was a try until I think about a year or two later, I got I landed work with XXL magazine. And then from there it started growing. Like I did, there was a Nas and Khalees article I did. There was a Biggie issue I did. Can't remember, but you know, I had a little, you know, stint with
them. And you do murals around the city as well, right? Yes.
Yeah. I do murals as well. So the thing, you know, it started transitioning, and later on, I started trying the social commentary. And I think, you know, with the mural stuff, it's just different parts, like how you break it down. You can do the illustration part, you can do the painting part. And at the time I was struggling trying to figure out, like, what is my niche? You know, like I had the hip hop thing, but then it's like there was a lot of people doing it as well. And I didn't want to tie it into graffiti, because graffiti, you know, like I mean, it's dope, but it's like, it's sort of like one dimensional. Like, you know, it's the letters, it's the art of letters and lettering. And, you know, I didn't want to fall into that. So I try to levitate towards the painting. So when I started that was when I started doing like a lot of murals and started doing my own personal painting. So I transferred basically the illustration style to paintings, and that's where, you know, like the canvases that I've had in the past about with the hip hop artists.